Hello and welcome to Social Media Weekly episode 3rd February 2021. Social Media Weekly is brought to you by Virtual Peddlers Marketing, rehumanizing your marketing experience. My name is Sean. This week's news: biometrics coming to WhatsApp apps. WhatsApp is rolling out biometrics login layers for both iOS and Android devices globally. With this enabled, you will be required to scan your biometrics, which is usually either your face, fingerprint, or iris scanners, on your mobile device whenever you log into WhatsApp desktop or browser. So assuming this is a one-time verification, whenever, let's say, for example, you log in for the first time, or maybe you haven't done it in a long time, or there is a possibility that they can enable some special chats that require your biometric scan before you can access those chats, so it kind of gives a little bit more security. QR for browser will still be there as an added step to the setup. This is actually one of the ways Facebook is trying to instill confidence on its platform after the debacle in the past 2 months, when they told us they will be sharing our data with Facebook, and then people started leaving WhatsApp, and because of that, WhatsApp has been trying to tell us that our data is safe and they're not tracking us and all that kind of stuff. WhatsApp also assures us that the biometrics will be stored in devices, so WhatsApp will not have our biometrics with them, and the standards is similar to those used by banks. I don't know if this will help instill confidence in WhatsApp, but it is a kind of added feature that I guess it's nice to have. Instagram may stop us from sharing feed posts on stories. You've always seen that, right? You've seen that before. People actually posting images. They post the images on the news feed, and then they share the same image on the stories, maybe with a little bit of a what is that called? Unveiling mask kind of veil thing that says new post or whatever it is. This became actually a very popular way for followers of influencers, especially of Instagrammers in general, of telling their followers that they have a new post, because stories has actually gained more views and engagements than feed posts in the past years. But especially for influencers and creators, they would rather use news feeds because it's more permanent, whereas stories are a lot more, they're very impermanent in the sense that it disappears within 24 hours, and it helps convey the message to the brands that they want to work with, that their news feeds look nice and it's got good track record and things like that. So what they have been doing is actually trying to divert people to newsfeed via stories, because more people see stories than newsfeed these days. So if a newsfeed has a new post, then they'll be like, hey, that's nice. They click on it and they go to the post, and maybe they engage or like the post. So Instagram is actually testing a feature that will disable our ability to share posts to stories. This means that you will eventually be able to share tweets and IGTV to stories, but not news feeds. It makes sense because people who follow you usually sometimes already get notified when you have a new post, or if they follow you enough and engage with you enough, they already see your content. They don't want to be able to see it twice, which gets a bit annoying for some people. And I guess Instagram is testing this because there has been enough people complaining about this double posting that's been going on, that Instagram thinks that they need to do something about it. Although you can screenshot and post it as an external image, but when you screenshot, what it does is it doesn't become a link. Right now, if you share it, it becomes a link that directly brings you to the post itself. You can share a post from some other account to your story, but you cannot what Instagram is testing now is to disable the ability to share between your own post to your own story. Facebook tests exclusion topics on ads. Facebook says that they are testing a new feature that will allow advertisers to exclude their ads on certain topics. This is specifically for Facebook news feeds. An example would be if a toy company wants to avoid appearing alongside newsfeed content of certain topics like crime and tragedy. Facebook already has a similar exclusion feature that works on videos, where it's in video placements where you watch a video and in between they will have this timer that goes ad starting in 3, 2, 1 and ad runs. It's easier to do that because the video itself, it is that one video itself which is already categorized as a certain topic. So it's easy for Facebook to exclude the ad in videos that fall under certain topics. But what Facebook is doing now is actually enabling it for news feeds. So right now, the ratio is that for every 3 news feeds you get one sponsored ad or a sponsored news feed. It is a very different ball game. It's a lot more different to do because these 3 news feeds can fall under 3 different topics and categories. And if you add an exclusion to your advertisement and that exclusion falls under that 3, one of that 3, chances are your ad will not appear on the 4th post. So Facebook has a lot of data to mine and a lot of parsing to do and figure out how to do filters and a lot of if this then that kind of stuff. And Facebook has to actually learn, right, how to exclude ads that does not want to be shown under certain categories. It is actually now being tested in a small groups of crowd and will be rolled out to markets very soon. Looking at this actually gives me the impression that Facebook gives me the kind of like an overall scale of how much Facebook is actually how much information Facebook is actually taking from us and how much it knows about what kind of topics we see in the news feed, and then be able to show us ads that fall under certain categories. It's quite, I wouldn't say amazing, but yeah. TikTok partners with advertising agency WPP. WPP is actually a renowned ads agency. It's kind of like an umbrella company in which it parents famous firms like Grey, Ogilvy, J. Walter Thompson, Mindshare, and more. In this partnership, TikTok will be building more robust creator partnership programs for collaborations with platform stars. WPP will also look to create accreditation programs for WPP agencies, like kind of like Facebook's Blueprint and Google Ad certification, with which they can use to label themselves as experts in TikTok marketing and possibly even sell the accreditation to other people, to other agencies as well. This way, TikTok can focus on building and growing their platform while WPP plans its monetization roadmap. On one end, WPP secured the golden seed to profit from the fastest growing social media platform in the world right now. On the other end, the two have an uphill battle ahead against larger social platforms it's copying. Like a lot of platforms are copying TikTok styles, Instagram Reels, although Instagram Reels is not doing very well, YouTube Shorts, and these are in a way incumbents, and TikTok is in a way a new entrant. And if the incumbents are able to compete well, then WPP would probably see itself in a losing position. But if TikTok can push forward and continue to become the fastest social media platform in the world, not just for its format but for TikTok's branding itself, this is very different because Snapchat's format was very successful, whereas Snapchat's branding was not as successful and its reach was not as successful. So because of that, Instagram was able to steal Snapchat's format and become more successful than Snapchat. So TikTok needs to not just focus on building and continuing to build a good platform and format, they need to continue to build good branding as well. And WPP will need to bring a very strong and robust monetization platform into TikTok so that businesses can come in and monetize in such a way that it's not annoying to people, it's not difficult to make money, and creators will stay because there's a lot of money to be made and not go elsewhere. So it's a little bit of a balancing act. We'll see how it goes. But the good news is that TikTok is focusing on businesses, which means that businesses can now go in and start to invest its attention, its what is this called, business presence in TikTok, and be able to make some profits, probably in the medium run, not so much in the short run. Right, so that's all for Social Media Weekly this week. Social Media Weekly's podcast is available on Anchor FM, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and more. Our full videos are available on YouTube, and we post bits and clips on Instagram and Facebook. This is Social Media Weekly, episode 3rd February 2021. My name is Sean. Stay safe. See you next week. Bye-bye.